So let me change my view really quickly. So welcome everyone to this very special, I say that when I have a guest speaker all the time, but this one truly is so special to my heart and to who I am. And I'm going to get really emotional and weepy, just FYI, it's what's going to happen. I'm going to cry because that's what Scarlet does. She's so healing. And oh, you know what, really quickly, I'm going to mute you all because I don't want to interrupt the recording. And then I'm also going to make Scarlet co-host. That way when where are you, Scarlet? That way I don't make co-host. There we go. Because I think if I make her co-host, if I mute everyone, she won't be, but she can always unmute too. Okay. So I'm going to get weepy today because Scarlet is just a huge influence in my life. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read a short bio about Scarlet because she's got so much going on and some of them are new things. And then I'm going to share a little bit about my own personal experience. And then I'm going to turn it over to Scarlet and we'll get on with our interview. I have to put on my glasses because I'm getting to be that age, can't see. So everyone, I'm really super excited for this call because as I said, Scarlet is an amazing person. And I'm just going to read her bio, which is as a spiritual catalyst for evolution. Scarlet has been traveling the world for over 20 years, studying with many different teachers from all walks of life. Her inner drive to enlightenment has shed light on many topics, helping others heal themselves and find harmony in their life. As an international best-selling author and founder of White Fox Medicinals, Scarlet now resides on an expansive horse ranch, Starwalker Ranch, guiding others through earth medicine, star-filled alchemical formulas, and teaching via an online school, Curandera Eyes. Scarlet works with medicine horses that have special needs or have been long forgotten due to their deep trauma. These horses can unlock healing for humanity. Her mission is to show the world the importance of medicine horses at this time. She has a new book coming out, Medicine Horses Speak. And that is her way of showing the world the importance of these medicine horses. Her way of moving through this world is a dance between old shamanic Curandera ways and the new light from the stars coming into our earth at this time. If you seek remembrances of who you are, who you truly are, that is what Scarlet is here for. So before I turn it over to her, I just want to share with you my own personal experience. So I met Scarlet probably around 10 years ago when I was co-hosting the Your Finest podcast, a podcast that elevates women in cannabis or features women in cannabis. And in preparation of that interview with Scarlet, I had to read her Follow the Medicine book. And it makes me emotional now to think about it. The book is about Scarlet's journey from her youth to who she was at that time, because the book now is a few years old. So it was who she was at that time she wrote it. But through that book, the book is so heart opening, heart expanding, but heart healing and empowering. Just Scarlet's journey, her story. It's her story, but her lessons and what she shares, it just helped me. At that time, I was starting out in cannabis. It's a man-dominated world. I was getting beat up. I didn't know what I was doing. And her book changed me. I found so much empowerment, so much light through that book, and it helped me so much. And I encourage all of you, get that book and read it. It's really life-changing. And then through interviewing her and meeting her, I also was introduced to White Fox Medicinals, and her products are bar none the best on the market. And I'm excited she has some to give away to some of you today. But also what was really impressive about White Fox Medicinals was, at the time when I met her, she was doing THC in California. And her business was really big, really booming because THC, cannabis. It was right at the height when everything was just exploding. And what impressed me the most was Scarlet was taking women from local herbology schools. She was nurturing them, mentoring them as her employees. And then in 2 years, if they wanted to leave and start their own business, Scarlet was empowering them. She was there encouraging them to go out on their own and do it. She didn't see it like, oh gosh, these girls are going to be in competition with me. She saw it as spreading her magic and spreading their magic. We need more female entrepreneurs. So I was just so impressed with that. And I'm so excited that she's here with us today because one, she's got her new book coming out. She has many other books. She has a book on psilocybin that's really wonderful. If you've ever wanted to know more about psilocybin and how to use it, I strongly encourage you to get this book. I hadn't done psilocybin since I was younger, and I only did it like once. I don't know. It just never to me was medicine. And that book changed my life. I mean, her magic, and I'm going to say this over and over, and I'm really sorry. She is just magical. What she shares is magical. And I know Shelly is in her Curandera Eyes school, and I know that she's experiencing this magic as well. And so I'm super excited to turn it over to Scarlet, and you'll have to unmute Scarlet because I guess being co-host didn't unmute you. And I'm going to turn it over to her. So welcome, Scarlet. We're so excited to have you.
Hey guys, thank you for having me. Leah, that was such a beautiful introduction. I think we've known each other like 10 years now.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I mean, for me, Scarlet is just this amazing alchemist, and I mean, just like a modern day medicine woman. And for me to have her in my life as my friend, it's been such a gift, but I just feel so incredibly honored. So thank you.
Yeah, I feel the same about you. I mean, you saved my butt this morning. So it's a full circle we have.
Definitely is. And so let's just get into, so people can learn more about you. We'll just get into the questions that we have. So like I said, you spent over 20 years studying with various teachers all over the world and exploring, different paths to healing and your personal growth. What inspired you to dedicate your life to this journey of healing with herbs and medicine?
I would say the motivator was pain and suffering, excruciating pain and suffering. And I say that with a smile on my face because it's just kind of part of like being on earth. So I don't mean it to sound dramatic, but I found the earth very dark for a really long time and went through an overdose. I was addicted to opiates at a really young age. And so in my early 20s, I had an overdose, and after I survived that, I realized there's two paths in front of me. And one's the path where I just allow myself to be this reactionary woman who's being owned by the world, or I make it like my life's mission to discover true happiness on the planet, and I don't stop till I find it. And that's kind of also how my brain thinks, is I think in extremes. And I was like, those are my two true, because I don't want to be on the planet if it's just going to be this mundane getting by vibe. I would rather not be here. So it has to be something like potently important for me to even entertain staying. And to me, discovering true happiness and then being able to share it with others would be worth staying on the planet. So that's what I chose. And then that propelled me into this gypsy lifestyle of bumping into different gurus and Zen monks, and all the different shaman things. And I was just gathering these little treasures and figuring things out and processing things and healing things. And that's what it came to be.
Well, and so that's a perfect segue into the next question. So then how do you integrate all these different perspectives into your work, like with White Fox, and then like with your school and with your books?
So I just actually realized lately that I really don't like what Shelly was such an inspiration. We have our monthly calls where we get together. We have community inside the school, and I'm watching my students, but really like my friends and these beloved souls I get to be with, move through the world and what they're going through. And I'm listening to Shelly's story, and I'm like, she's so evolved. Like, she's got all these incredible tools. And then realizing, like, I put the school out there that had the tools in them, but I myself was in this place where I had forgotten my whole school's teachings. And I think that's how the soul works. I think if we think that we're going to get to some place of accomplishment, that's when we really get humbled. And then we get to kind of go back through it. I think things are always meant to be a journey, and there's never going to be like a cemented off place that's only pure bliss and pure happiness. But we can construct a world around us, like the community through Curandera Eyes and having friends like you that remind us, because we're all in this kind of cauldron of medicine together, if we keep reminding ourselves. And you're such a good friend. Like, you'll tell me, not everyone will have the balls to tell someone when they're like, dude, you're totally going in the wrong direction. Like, that's a true friend, to look at you in the eye and say, no, 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 no. Like, you're not going to be happy. And I love having people like that in my life that can be that honest with me, because I believe if I have a human body, I have a lot of lessons still. So
Absolutely.
I do have all these tools. I would say Follow the Medicine compiles 80% of the information that will make you like extremely happy day to day. That doesn't mean you're going to be issue free. That doesn't mean you're not going to have awful days, but you're going to have the tools to basically construct the feeling state that you want, regardless of what's happening. And then there's other things that I teach that I learned after the book, like the school, that have more of a surrender factor. This is like a very masculine to me, because it was like, I was creating the life I wanted, and it had a very masculine energy. And then Curandera Eyes has a very feminine energy. It's like all about, then once you know all this stuff, surrender it and let it go, because there's powers higher than you. And when you can get to that level of humility, that's when bliss comes into your emotional state.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, because humility is hard. And I think we get confused and think humility is weakness, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And I've had a handful of really good humblings this year alone. And they feel like they feel uncomfortable physically, but they're so empowering. To see yourself that clearly is so empowering. It's the confusion and the delusion that's painful to
Abs-
me.
Absolutely. Well, so let's get it, because I want to talk a little bit about, I mean, God, we could go off on all things, but let's just really quickly kind of go back a little bit, and like White Fox Medicinals. What inspired you to start White Fox? Because that was a big undertaking.
Yeah. Um, I grew up really loving plants and animals. Like, those were my friends and kind of my spiritual guides. So when I got into my 20s and I was working on healing myself, it was naturally for me to go back to plants and animals. So I was always kind of wild harvesting plants and talking to plants and making myself all these different remedies. And then towards my late 20s, I got a bunch of certifications in the holistic health field. So then I was offering these remedies, and they weren't branded at all. You know, they were like amber glass bottles with nothing written on them. And so I've been doing the herbal thing for well over like 20 years. And it's just been a staple in my life, because I've never found true success with Western medicine when it comes to healing, but I have consistently found it with herbs and CBD. And so the whole CBD cannabis thing, when you and I were getting, I think you were my first cannabis interview like ever. And then like things really took off in the press after that. But when I noticed, like, I was making herbal remedies for people for probably like 10 years or so. And then when I got to California, I got into the cannabis game. So I started adding CBD and THC to the formulas. And then what I noticed was my patients or my clients were healing exponentially faster. And so I just saw it as this like rocket ship that could really boost the healing of all the other plants.
Yeah, I mean, that was really incredible too, because so Scarlett's super generous, and she would send me big packages of all her products, and I would send those products out to people all over the nation that were into cannabis and say, you got to try this. You got to know this girl. And they would just be like, what is this product? Where can I get more of this product? It's just magical. I miss the THC products because they were just, oh my gosh. But now she's in New Mexico, and New Mexico is not a legal state like California was. Those were the boom days. But one of the products that I know that you make is really super popular, and that is the Tranquility tincture. But that was inspired by an experience you had by visiting Mount Shasta, which I love. It's such a magical. I'm so lucky I get to drive by it whenever I go back to Oregon. So
Yeah.
can you share about that?
Yeah, that was one of like my first kind of star channeling formula experiences, I think. But Mount Shasta had this, I call it secret, but that's mostly because no one knew about it. But they had this mineral springs at the base of it, and I would go there and do the mineral springs. And they were so potent, you could only sit in them for 15 minutes. So you would sit for 15 minutes in your own private tub, and then you do the sauna for 15 minutes, and then you jump in the river. And you do that cycle 3 times. And if you did that for 21 days, they said you could heal anything. So there was a lot of magic, and Mount Shasta is just a magical place in general. But I was there and I had done a couple of days of that, and I was just sitting on the mountain, and it basically came in like a vision of we have our individual experiences, but we're also all a part of the collective, right? So there's a collective consciousness that's present. And whether we like it or not, it's influencing us because we're all one unit. So I was sitting there and I saw the collective, and it was like a remedy for the collective, but also for me specifically. And I think living in California was the first time I experienced like complete nervous system blowout. Because there's like a hustle to California where things move really quickly and you have to make a lot of money to be able to stay there. So I found myself like really buzzing around, whereas before that I was pretty slow moving. So my nervous system was fried. And when your nervous system is fried, it's really hard to be in alignment with your higher self. It's really hard to like be intuitive and make decisions rather than respond, or rather than react, I should say. So this formula came in, and it was the herbs themselves, and it was the portions and everything. And it was the antidote to this collective overfrying of the nervous system, which came through technology, the speed of the world, the amount of input people are starting to get. Because if you watch movies from like the 1950s or 60s, and you watch the pace at which humans moved, the collective consciousness was not experiencing nervous system overload in those periods. But when you go into 2020 and 2010, when technology came in, we're going through like a huge adjustment to be able to stay centered within the technology boom around us. It's quite challenging. I mean, I had to give up my iPhone to be able to stay balanced and get a flip phone. So I've been managing it in a lot of different ways, but this formula, it coats the nervous system. And so it gives you that super, super deep exhale, which then you're connected to your higher self, and then you feel God and you feel peace. And I mean, it's amazing. And it's to be taken like consistently for a little while, and then you can permanently reset your nervous system. So depending on how you want to use it, if you want to use it to help to fall asleep, anti-anxiety, there's many uses, but consistent use for like a period of 6 weeks to 12 weeks, you'll have like a reset.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. I mean, I was even giving that to my one pit bull who's really crazy and really aggressive, and he calmed down after like a couple months of that. Just doesn't, he's totally fine. So it's so true. But it's like, but I think can you just expand a little bit more on that? Like, how your different products, like what you're putting in them and how you're balancing that. Like I know you have the remedy salve that's really amazing as well. So how are you knowing like, oh, okay, this is what goes into this? What comes to you? Like, how are you creating these?
It kind of feels like in the 3D world, it would feel like my phone rang and I picked it up and then someone listed off ingredients. Like I'll just have a feeling of like, okay, this remedy is required. Most of it, I would say 90% of it I made for myself. Like it was required for me. And then it's universal, right? Everyone has aches and pains in their body and nervous system stuff. So that's how it would feel. And I have an apothecary. I have like massive, I'm trying to see if it's like neat enough to show you guys. I guess it is. But I have like big metal shelves filled with huge glass. Let me just show you. My house is not clean right now, but this is like, I have just tons of plants in glass jars. and I can go over there, and you know how, like, I don't know how your guys' intuition works, but I'm just drawn to what's needed, right? So I'm like, oh, okay, arnica, grab that. And then I have my extractor and I'm putting in what I feel like.
Mm.
It's all right-brained.
It's so amazing too, because I know that the remedies have, and I was with Kathleen, Prasad, who many of you know, and she had something was wrong with her ankle or something, and nothing was working for the pain. So I said, "Oh, try this," and she put it on, and then a little bit, just come on the side. She's like, "What is this? What is this? What's in this?" She's like, "My pain is gone. What is in this?" And she was like, "I'm swearing." I go, "You can have that." And she's like, and then also to the CBD remedies. I remember when she was going through cancer, she was using those too, and there's just so much, like, and I said before earlier, I'm going to keep saying this, there's so much magic, but there really is. I don't know another word to say to explain what Scarlet does, because you really truly are like a modern medicine woman, because that's how I would imagine modern, or the ancient medicine women did it too. It's all on intuition, and feeling the vibration from the plants, right?
Yeah, and I can tell you about, I had a shamanic initiation, which opened me up to this whole world.
Yeah.
And when I was in a school in Crestone. And the funny thing is, I'll jump forward a little bit. The girls that I did hire to help me work White Fox were all from the Forestville School of Herbal Studies, which is a globally renowned herbal healing school. And all of them took issue with my formulations. They were like, "That's not in the book, and you're not supposed to use that with that, and like you're not diluting, you're not diluting." So I would make like a repair remedy batch, and then I would be like, "Okay, now go ahead and strain the herbs out and let's bottle it." And they're like, "You're supposed to dilute ×4." And I was like, "Why would I dilute potency if I'm trying to cure?" And they're like, "Well, the book says if you put da 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 da, you have to dilute ×4." And I'm like, "Do you think maybe that's why mine works and other stuff on the shelf doesn't? Like, I mean, let's just rationally think about what you're saying here." And I was like, "Bottle it. We're not diluting it." So there's things that are taught in herbal remedies schools that are based on profit margins that take away from, yeah, so I might make a little bit less of a profit, but when you use it, your pain goes away. Like, what's more important, right?
Absolutely. No, I love that. And that's like, and that just encapsulates your ethos. You're there, you're making products to help heal. You're not making products because you're doing this for a business to try to make money. You're out there because you want to spread that to help others heal. And that's what I love so much about you. So transitioning from White Fox for a minute, and actually there's actually a product for horses that we're going to talk about too. But I want to talk to you a little bit about horses. And I know that you've just experienced something really amazing with just the medicine of horses. So can you kind of talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. And I'm gonna put a disclaimer out. I feel like I'm really ignorant in this subject, and I'm just scratching the surface of what I'm exposed to. But since I was on the planet, horses have been like the one thing that is the most pure, loving representation of God for me to witness in human form. So I have been obsessed with them. I mean, all I had was plastic horses growing up. I never wanted dolls, and I thought I was a horse for years. So I've known something about them since I was a little kid. And I've also, in a really extreme way, don't want to be on the earth unless I can be around horses. So even when I financially couldn't afford to have my own horse, I would volunteer at a rescue, or I would do like exercise rides for someone for money. I would just do something to where my presence was in the presence of horses. And to be honest, when it wasn't, I was extremely mentally unstable and depressed.
Mm.
And that's just being totally transparent. I would really have to struggle to get through day-to-day life if I didn't have access to a horse. It could even just be a horse I passed on the road that I stopped and pet for a day. That could even be my medicine for that day. So my whole life's dream was to have my own horse ranch. and live with my own horses, mainly because I just knew how good it would feel. And I bought my first horse ranch 4 years ago, and I'm on it, and I'm living with my horses. And so now I'm in this process of kind of peeling back the layers of like, why? Like, why is this such deep medicine? And through my experiences, I'm really attracted to unruly, deeply abused horses. And I find like a really strong medicinal connection with them. And when I'm in the presence of a horse like that, I get healings, and I don't have to pay for them, and I don't have to schedule anything. I just show up and we look in each other's eyes, and it's like I was in the therapist's office for 10 hours. And so I'm having these experiences now. I have 2 horses that are like that. And then I visited the shelter in Santa Fe when I can, because there's a horse down there that I have those experiences with as well. And so I don't really know like how to describe it, but what I'm efforting to do right now is describe it through writing the book Medicine Horse Speaks. And when I'm having these encounters and I'm getting these downloads, the most succinct way I could say it is they are veilless to God. Even though we look at them like a 3D creature, that's 1% of what's really going on. And then on the other side is just this purity of the Great Spirit. And if we as a human can be in the presence of a horse and drop our agenda, that's when these otherworldly healings, upliftments, medicine comes through. It propels your evolution. It increases your psychic abilities. It increases your compassion, and it's verbaless. There's no words being exchanged. There's no monetary gain. It's just this happenstance miracle that people have said that that's a horse, and you do jumping with it, or you do roping with it, or you do dressage with it, or you make it work for your farm. And it's like, yeah, all of that's true, but I think that's 1% of what's going on here, guys.
No, absolutely. I mean, and it's, and the thing about horses too, I mean, the history with us is so rich and deep, right? But also their own history goes back. I mean, they've been part of this earth for, I think it's like millions, tens of millions of years. And they're here to help us. They're here to show us something. And I know that, you've learned so much about them, and that's why you're writing your book. So can you just talk a little bit more about your book and what you're going to be sharing in that?
Yeah, so this is going to be my like 8th book, and I wanted it to be more community oriented. It was inspired by Chico, who just had a few surgeries, and Leah and I were just talking about this morning, but Leah's far more advanced in this category of the horse rescue situation. I'm very green, as they would say. And so I got this horse, is gifted to me, gifted. I agreed to take care of a horse. He's got a lot of special needs. He's completely magical. And he had a runny nose one day that wasn't clear, which means he had some type of a sinus condition. And without going into the details, the truth of the matter is that vets don't understand the horse sinus. And they will all say that to you, plain and simple. But I wanted to do what was best for the horse and get him the best medical care. And I started going down this path. And what I discovered was like the initial response from people were like, why would you spend money on a horse like that? And that was really what inspired me to want to write the book. Well, because I know the horse and I know how many healings he's given me. I know how much love he's shared with me. I know what his abilities are. And I know that he could heal thousands of people, like a miracle medicine person sitting in the forest. I know that that's his gift. How do I translate that through a book to people that would say something like, why would you spend money on a horse like that? I feel like that they have a voice that hasn't been spoken. And so I want this book to represent that voice. not just Chicos, but Denali's and Bowies. I mean, you told me, Leah, of a story of that pregnant mare, you know? We all have kind of an inner knowing. And then you watch people and people are just driving down the road and they're like, oh, mom, look, a horse. Everyone gets excited when they see a horse, but they don't know why. I don't really know why either. So I'm going to try and explain it through the book.
Well, I mean, they really truly are magical and mystical. And I think that that's sometimes why people fear them too. There's that deep sense of, they're really powerful. Not only are they big and powerful, but just their energy is so big. You go in their presence. What also pains me about the horse, and I'm really excited for your book, is that people don't understand, one, everything they give us, but also they don't understand the plight of the horse, that they're not like dogs and cats. You can't just put them in a shelter and somebody will adopt them, or people adopt them and they just put them out to pasture and they don't really care for them. And that's not healthy. Or like alone, when they put them out alone, they're a herd animal. Or people have this misconception that like racehorses, they get to go retire in a beautiful green meadow. No, that just doesn't happen. They go to feedlots and it's very ugly and it's a very painful death and they don't really deserve it. And it's not like, that's not what we're here to try and promote or anything, but we're trying to promote that they deserve better. They need better from us. They've given us so much throughout the history of our world. They built our world. They built our countries that we have all over the world. They went to war for us. They've done so much for us. We owe it to them in whatever way we can, whether it's donating to the rescues or donating like to your plight where, you're caring for Chico and the bills are thousands and thousands of dollars. And then Kelly says, I'm always looking for opportunities to be around horses. Yeah, such magical energy. And it's so true. So I wanted to ask you, so in doing this book, like what's your ultimate hope for what people get out of this?
Oh my gosh. I have the biggest hope. So this is the vision I had, that I'm going to write this book. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to release a chapter every week and I'm going to read that chapter overlaid with so it's a YouTube video. So you can watch a little video of me with the horses in the background and kind of be entertained. But then the book is being written and you're right there with me. You can read each chapter just as I'm writing it. So when the final book comes out, it's not going to be just as you heard it on YouTube, because there's always edits and there's always additions, but it's getting people excited now. So that's part of my vision. I want people to be excited about this subject now, but my prayer is that it's kind of twofold. So all of the really wealthy people that buy horses to accomplish their equestrian goals, 80% of them get rid of that horse as soon as it can't perform to their level of standard. And they're kind of treated like a motorcycle would be treated. Like, oh, the motorcycle broke down, let's buy a newer model. I want to enlighten those people because they certainly have the means to develop a mindset of maybe I can't do my equestrian goal with this horse, but maybe I can advance myself spiritually with this horse. Maybe that's not the only option, is to discard it and get a new one. Maybe there's other paths that are just as acceptable in the equestrian world. So I want to interject that idea into the equestrian world of competition, where maybe they can just think about, do I really have to get rid of this horse, or can I learn through it and with it and grow with it? And can this be a family member? People don't get rid of dogs when they get 5-10 years older. It's only in the horse industry where you take this animal that you supposedly have a soul connection with, and then when you're done with it, you drop it. So I want this book to inspire all of those beautiful equestrians to look at their horses beyond just the equestrian goal. And then the other part of it is that all of the rescues and all of the places that are currently caring for horses, the unwanted horses, the underdog horse, the horse with the club foot, the horse with that can never be ridden, the horse that's blind and needs a helper, those horses, and I'm not just blowing you guys up here, those are the medicine horses. Those are the horses that are filled with gifts that if we put them in the right environment with the right facilitator, have the potential to heal anyone they come into contact with. And I really don't think I'm overstating that. It's what I have experienced day in and day out on my ranch. And but before I die, I'm going to get this point across that you can take a horse. The horse industry is very much like, what are you going to do with it, right? Whenever someone says, I want a horse, it's like, well, what are you going to use it for? That's the mentality currently around horses. And I just want this book to enlighten that a little bit so that people can realize that if you're going to spend $3,500 on a weekend retreat in Napa Valley to improve yourself spiritually, another thing you could do would be adopt a horse or two and connect with that animal and care for that animal on a regular basis and heal yourself and everyone in your family. So, yeah.
I love that. I love that so much. And so you're, how many chapters have you released now on YouTube? Is it 2?
4.
4. Okay. So we'll put links in the recap to all of that, so you can all start catching up with Scarlet and her reading of this, because really it's going to be a very transformational book. And I hope that people will buy it, and not only buy it, but spread the word about it, because it's really important that we start being advocates for these amazing beings who are teaching us so much. And like you said, there's so much medicine to heal. And also in your book, I know you were asking for people to share stories with you so that you can add them to your book. And I know that one of the stories that I wanted to share in the book was the story of Angel, which was, she had actually foaled and she was on a feedlot with her foal. And horses traditionally will not care for other foals. It's just like, those are your foals. I'm just going to care for my baby. And there were 3 other foals on the feedlot, and Angel got them and gathered them and wouldn't let anyone near them, knowing that where she was. And this is where the intelligence of horses comes, right? She knew those babies were in danger. And so finally, Pregnant Mare Rescue heard about them, and they went and scooped them all up. And there's Angel. And I have a picture, and we're going to talk more about this in the fundraiser that I'm doing for Scarlet on the 8th. But I have a great picture of Angel with these horses. But, we don't give them that, respect, that they know so much more. Animals in general know so much more than we do. But so if you have a spiritual, wonderful story and you want it to be shared in Scarlet's book, she is open to people sending stories. And I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about that, Scarlet, and what you're hoping to get in stories from people.
Yeah, I would love that. I would love to have like a whole chapter that's just a compilation of different people from all around the world sharing and confirming how they see magic in horses. The more that we focus on this and speak up about it as a collective, the more it's going to infuse this new consciousness. We're all very powerful. Like, I think we can all feel really small sometimes. Especially the past few years on the planet, I think has given people a lot of opportunity to feel small. But the truth is that if we focus on something, and if we focus on it, especially collectively, we're basically interjecting this whole new mindset into the collective. And then it's much more easily susceptible for people to open up. The unseen realm runs the seen realm. So we're always participating in it. So if you share your story and it's 1 to 3 pages long, you're part of that voice that's coming out that's saying, let's take a second look at this relationship, guys. Let's see if we can be kinder and gentler and sweeter. And let's see if by showing up in that way, in turn, our life is then sweeter and kinder, and gentler. So I think it's a push for the new earth. It's a push for collective higher consciousness through horses.
I love that. And, horses really do teach us how to be better humans. You look at them in the herd, and they all coexist, and there's not, fighting. I mean, obviously sometimes there is, if there's some, but normally, just on the average, they all are working together, and not even like, obviously, it's just, they're all connected in that beautiful, energetic space. And I just love being out in a herd because there's nothing more healing. And I know when we were at Remus, at Remus, it's in Essex, England. She's got 200 horses and huge pastures. And it's just funny how the horses, like if they're eating and you come walking up to where they're eating, they put their ears back and they're like, nope, you're not coming by my hay. So you kind of back up a little and their ears go forward. But they teach you how to be with them, without being mean or being dangerous or violent. They're teaching you, hey, learn some manners, human. You're coming in here, I'm eating, don't get near my food. And it's incredible. I just have had so many wonderful experiences. Even like one time, two of the horses, they came down to the gate when we were coming in to greet us, walked into the pasture so we could do our thing. And then when we were done, they walked us back and stood at the fence and like, basically, okay, bye. I mean, they know so much. Their heart is so expanded, but we as humans are like this, right? And we don't open ourselves up to that bigger picture that they're here to share their wisdom and their magic with us if we're open to it, right?
Yeah, we got to be open.
Absolutely. And ears, eyes, and heart open. So I want to talk a little bit. I want to go from the horses to the Curandera Eyes course. And can you just like explain what that is?
Yeah, it's phenomenal. I started taking the course myself after I saw how my students looked, and I was like, wow, they know what's going on, and I forgot. So I started taking the course again, and I was inspired to do a Course in Miracles on my 40th birthday. So on the first day of my 40th birthday, I started that course, and I was very, I took it really seriously. I did one lesson every day, and it completely transformed my entire life. And for most of my age 40 and most of 41, I felt like I was in this fifth dimensional blissful state 90% of the time. I didn't have outer issues I was dealing with. I didn't have stresses. And I do attribute it to how the book reframed how I saw the world. And it gave me this power to surrender everything to God. And as soon as I surrendered everything to God, all I felt was peace. And it didn't matter what was going on. So I did that. And then I was in such an incredible state. I was like, I have to share this container with other people. And this course came through me. I mean, I think that's why I don't remember a lot of what I teach, because it's like something's moving through me. And the course has, it's 8 weeks, but it will probably take 6 months to complete, because there's so much information every day. And even me, like I've been doing the course for about 2 weeks now, and I'm only on day 2. Because there's some stuff that it's like, well, it's going to take a minute for me to embody it. And I don't want people to move on unless you're embodying that day's teaching. And I got so far from my own teachings. That's how thick I am right now. That's how much time I need to kind of sink back in. But I was going through all of this stress. It was the finances of Chico, and then my truck breaking down, and then just being like, okay, like I'm being beaten into the pavement right now. And I was not surrendering anything. I was trying to handle everything, and I was in a state of misery. And then we had our monthly Zoom, and I was like, yeah, I'm messing this up right now, and I'm going to relearn what I taught. And so it gives you this container where you get to join our community. So you can ask me questions every month. You get to have a one-on-one session with me. And then I also send you a couple of my books, as well as a bottle of holy anointing oil. So you get like a little welcome packet. And then you move through the course at your own pace. You join the monthly Zoom, so you have continued support. And if you wholeheartedly do the lessons, you will feel a state of peace in your life. I'm redoing them now, and it really works. I mean, just the first day of doing the class again, I was like, oh my God, I felt this lightness come back to me that I hadn't felt for months. I had gotten so mentally intertwined in my issues. I didn't step back and surrender.
So when people take the course, Scarlet, like what is the outcome that you hope that they get out of this? Like, who do you want coming? Like, who is this tailored for? And what is the outcome that you're hoping that they walk away with? And Shelly's here. Shelly's a student, so I hope Shelly will talk a little bit about it as well.
I hope that the students walk away with knowing that they're always the exact same vibration as God. That there's just no difference between eternal bliss and peace in you, and that you have the mental focus and control, and then you have the informational awareness to know the steps of how to handle any situation that comes into your life. So if you're someone that feels stressed or hopeless or helpless or frustrated, and you want to just feel a sense of extended peace, then that's what this course creates. And then it's on you to remember it. Because I will attest that you can forget it. But the good thing is that once you join the course, it's yours forever. So you can retake it once a year, or you can take it every other year. You know, it's yours for life. But it's crazy how easy it is to forget.
Yeah, we get caught up in the world, right? We get caught up in what's happening in our day to day. And I think there's so much coming in, like you and I were talking about that. If you're watching news, or you expose yourself to that, or you just you open yourself up to the pain that's happening and saying, oh, this pain is real, this is me, then you lose sight that you're so much bigger. Like, we're limitless beings. We teach this all the time in my classes, I know in your classes. And it's so easy to forget that you're limitless because we get attached to this physical body and the pain that we're feeling. And I love too that this is based on A Course in Miracles, because I think I'm on my second year of Course in Miracles. I'm just finishing up my second year. And it just gives you that foundation that, every lesson, every day, it's like, okay, it brings you back into your body, brings you back into who you truly are, but not in your body like, oh, I'm in my body. It's like more, I know that I'm bigger than my body. I'm who I am, I guess is what it is. It just brings you back into who you are, into your soul. So I love that. I would love for Shelly, I know Shelly, you're taking the class, or maybe you finished. I would love for you to share a little bit about this. So before Shelly, unmute Shelly, but I want to say something so funny. So I get an email from Shelly asking me for an animal communicator. And I'm like, oh yeah, here is who I would recommend. She goes, okay. And then she gives it to Scarlet, who I don't even know that they know each other. I don't even know they're connected. And then she goes, oh yeah, Scarlet. And I go, oh, Scarlet, this is so weird. What a small world. That is like the smallest world. I was just like, oh my God, this is so incredible. But again, right, the universe will bring women together that need that support and wisdom. And I just love that. That's why I love these communities, because it brings together all of us, and we can remind each other of the incredible power that we have in each of us. And then also, like what Scarlett and I do is like, we help bring the other person back up when they've fallen. It's like, no, you're fine. Come on, get back. You're good. Gonna keep on walking.
Yeah.
Jelly, I would love for you to share.
Okay, you have to promise that if I keep coming to your calls, you're not going to keep calling on me, though.
I know I did this to Kelly last time. Last time I didn't give her, well, I did kind of warn you earlier.
No, I'd love to speak on this, because I love this course. And again, I'm going to get choked up. I'm sitting over here wiping my eyes constantly, because as y'all are talking, I'm just overwhelmed, because I am so deeply grateful to have found this. And it's one of those crazy serendipities, like years and years. I don't know if serendipities is a word, but years and years and years ago, before CBD was even a thing in Arkansas, we're behind everybody else. I was buying Scarlett's products, and then it got big here, and I just fell off and forgot about her awesomeness. And then out of the blue, I wasn't even on her mailing list anymore. Just out of the blue one day, I get an email. I'm on her mailing list again, and she had done an interview about something that intrigued me. Oh, it was a psilocybin interview. And I'm like, I'm going to watch that. Oh, and this is that stuff I used to use. Oh, I like this. I love it. I'm going to watch this. And she brought up her course, and I had been looking for something exactly like that. I'm like, well, you know what I want in my life right now? I want somebody that offers la 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 la. And she comes on and says, I offer la 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 la. And I said, oh, this, it was so serendipitous. And yes, it is 8 weeks. I don't remember when I started it. It was a few months ago, and I am halfway through week 5.
Yeah.
But I will tell you that, stop it. I will tell you that when I feel called to go to the next one is when I go. And every time after I watch the video and do the teaching, I go, oh my gosh, that's exactly what I needed.
Yeah.
It's always exactly what I need when I need it. It's the teaching I need in that moment.
Yeah.
So I might go weeks and I'll pick it up, I'll sit down and I'll be like, oh, thank you. Oh my gosh. Oh, it's, and it's just like, I swear God speaks through Scarlet to me. When I'm done, I'm going to start over because it's been such a beautiful blessing, and being a part of her little community is wonderful. And, I'll go in there and these people start talking and I'm like, oh my gosh, me too. Me too. So yeah, I highly recommend for anybody that just wants a little more magic in their life, I think.
Yeah.
That's what it's done for me anyway.
That's amazing to hear all that, Shelley. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
It really is a full circle because everything you just said, that's how it's been for me, retaking it. It's like I took one day and I was like, I've been feeling so heavy for 2 months. And after that one video, I went through what I said in the video and I did it. And I was like, there I am again. I'm light. It was instant. It was a forgotten memory. It was instant to come back.
It is. It's such a remembering because a lot of it is like, I knew this.
Mhm.
I forgot this. Oh, thank you. Oh, it feels good to be back here again. Yeah.
Coming home. It's a coming home to your
Yeah.
greatest self every time you watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that so much because as women, I think that we have a high tolerance to stress, and then we get to that breaking point, but it takes a lot to get to that point, and we need something that's going to bring us back, because otherwise we just are in that spiral of stress. We get angry, we get mean, we get crabby, we get cry, we feel hopeless and helpless, and there's nothing worse than when you feel hopeless and helpless, because then that leads to depression and it leads to darker thoughts. And so it's so wonderful to know that there's something like this out there, and I am so excited because I'm still in flux right now, but as soon as I land back in Portland at the end of September, I am so in this class. I cannot wait. But already, I mean, going back to follow the medicine, I'm telling you, there's a lot of things that Scarlet has right now. If you don't have the time or the money for the course. And how much is the course, Scarlet? You want to share that?
It's $550.
Okay. Oh, that's really good for 8 weeks.
Yeah.
So if you don't have the money, you get her book, follow her, get on her email list. Oh, what's the name of the course? So it's Curandera.
Curandera Eyes. Curandera is the name of like a medicine person from the South. So that's C-U-R. Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, I mean, I think that for myself, I can't wait because I want to get back into that spirituality. Like I was saying, I do the Course in Miracles and it's great, but sometimes you need something deeper. And also we can't understate the importance of community. I think that alone, like Shelley was saying, going on the calls and hearing other people talk and go, oh my gosh, I'm going through that same thing, because we get into that thing like, oh, I'm the only one feeling like this. I can't talk about it. I can't share it, because usually the people around you don't understand what you're going through, or they can't relate, or they can't comfort you, but you go into a community and you get that extra support. Wouldn't you agree, Scarlet?
Yeah, I mean the monthly Zooms, which I'm kind of considering proposing to the group that we do them twice a month, but it's obviously not required. but it would give people more time to come together. But the people in my group, I mean, we have a man from Finland, we have a woman from Australia, another woman from Mexico, and then me and Shelly's in the deep South. I mean, come on, like I'm in New Mexico. And there's a couple of other people that are in the course, but don't join the, the calls. But that's who's been joining the calls every month. And it is so incredibly potent. I mean, I've watched people come in because you come in because there's this stress or this hope for a better life, right? And so I watch them and we come in, you have that desire, and I'm watching them all have all their desires fulfilled every month. It's like they're closer to the desire, they're closer to the desire. The guy in Finland really wanted to find some of his own medicine. Now he has an overabundance of it. He's got like more than he needs. I don't want to share everyone's super personal stuff, but there's been other stuff where their desires have come to fruition, and watching that in real time is the most healing thing for me. Because then I have endless hope, like when Shelly faced her fear and shared that story with me, I was like, well, if Shelly can do it, I can do it. And I changed my entire vibrational state just from witnessing her story. And literally the next day I did it and it was awesome. But had I not listened to her story, that wouldn't have been there for me. So there's a lot of potency just in the monthly Zooms, and that's for life too. We're really building a tight-knit community there. That's incredible medicine people are in that community. I can't even, it's blowing my mind.
So when they join your course, then you do these Zooms, but these Zooms aren't necessarily like only 8 weeks or only 2 months or whatever. You're doing these every single month from now until whenever.
Yeah, because 3 of the people have completed the course and I've sent them their certifications. But they're, we're all together every month regardless.
Wow, that's amazing. That's such a great support, because a lot of times you finish the course and then, you have questions or something's happening and you lose touch with that community because you're no longer in the class together, or you're no longer, getting support calls together. And that can feel almost like you've been dropped off a little bit. And then that's when we let go of what we've just learned, or we don't go back to it, because we don't have that support where we can actually talk about it. There's so much power in that. I love that you're doing that, Scarlet.
Yeah, it's really important. I took an online class and I love the teacher and I love the information, but she never did a one-on-one and there was never any community calls. And I was just like, had she had that, I would have really secured these beliefs and embodiments. So I just took, when I create my own, I think there has to be this container of consistent community, but also a face-to-face with the person who created it. I think that's just really important for people to have that these days. I mean, it's such a consumeristic society. You don't know who's making what for you. And a lot of healing comes when you can just slow down and meet who's making your medicine. How does that person feel? When you start getting connected to your medicine and your food in that way, your vibration shifts to one of peace just from those slow, intimate, honest interactions.
Yeah, I think so. And I think that we don't, again, like you were kind of touched on that, we don't really have that in our life. We don't, in the busy world that we live in, we don't have those places where we can slow down and have those intimate conversations and feel supported and heard and seen, and appreciated, what everybody needs. So I love that so much. One other question about the course that I was curious about. So I know that you like Course in Miracles helped create this, but also, do you bring in shamanism in this as well?
I guess I do. I do. I bring it into everything. It's very, so curandera to me is like, it's a term that represents.
Oops. See if her internet comes back. Maybe that's my internet. I'm not sure.
I'm still here, so I think it's her.
Oh, you can hear me, Shelly?
Yeah, now we can.
You're back.
Okay. I was like, wait, no, I'm here.
Right when you said what it means to you, that's when you froze.
So basically, like,
Oh no, it's like the universe doesn't want us to hear what it means to her. We'll give her a second.
I'm here.
And maybe turn off your camera for a minute while you
Okay.
explain what it is, because that will help. Okay, there you go.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay. I'll be succinct. So yes, shamanism, becoming one with the earth and the elements is definitely a part of this. Connecting with the individual elements, going slow enough to hear the trees, I want people to walk out of this course with the ability to call on help from nature. Like, trees are incredible teachers. They're all around you. I want people to feel the vibrational frequency of the earth so thoroughly that you can go out and lay on the earth and talk to her and get what you want in terms of vibrational shift. The natural kingdom to me is like the most potent way that we can touch God physically. So that is very potent inside the course, as well as animal connections.
I love that. I love that so much. So, okay, so again, I'll put a link in the recap for those of you that are interested. And, Scarlet is very approachable. If you have questions about the course, like if you really are interested, you want to take it, but you're not sure if it's right for you, I will also give you Scarlet's email address and you can contact her and ask her questions about it. But and I'm so grateful that Shelly's here as a student and this wasn't planned. This is just, she's just called on. I know she's going to get so mad at me. But it is a really wonderful course. I was talking to Scarlet when she created it. I was really excited then. And, I'm so bummed at myself for letting life get in the way, but I'm very excited to take this. And I hope that all of you will consider joining me and taking this from Scarlet, because again, it's another way of getting community, and the investment isn't really that much for what you get out of it. Like she said, you're going to get a welcome kit with some of her books and her product, the anointing oil. And Scarlet, why don't you tell us a little bit about the anointing oil?
Oh yeah. So I got really into Jesus. I had like a period where I was super into Jesus, and I was studying all these different angles about him because everyone has different stories. But what I really got deep into was I was studying how he used oils and plants. And there's a lot of literature around like why he used olive oil to anoint. And basically, it's a cinnamony smelling olive oil, very simple, but I add a cactus oil in there because I'm always going to add something of my own. And it's a representation of how you can daily anoint yourself or reconnect to your higher self, also anointing others. I've used it on plants when I'm like thanking a tree. I bring it when I'm out in nature. I have this little fanny pack, and I'll always have a little bit in my fanning pack. And it's a way for me to materialize my gratitude and prayer for what's around me, whether it's a tree or it's my horse. I've done anointing circles with my horses where I just thank them for loving me. So it's not that the oil is magic, but you are magic, and whatever you touch then becomes magic. So when you touch the oil, that's when it's going to become that magical anointment that could induce a miracle. But I don't want people to think the oil is doing it. You're doing it. You're doing the miracles yourself.
I love that so much. And so I want to open, I don't know if anyone has questions. It doesn't seem like anyone, they're putting it in the chat. So please put your questions in the chat if you have something for Scarlet. And if you want to unmute and ask Scarlet a question, please feel free to do that. We're going to announce the winners of the drawing in a little bit, but I also wanted to ask you, Scarlet, so if people are interested in checking out your products, your White Fox medicinal products, which we all highly believe in. And, oh, Mary Lynn says, is the oil safe for dogs and cats, the anointing oil?
So anointing oil, not for cats.
And why is that?
It's too cinnamony. Well, I wouldn't say, so I don't think safety is a concern, but my cats are just too sensitive to smells, and I don't want to put something that potent on them that they then can't, like, they got to lick it off. So for me, what I do is I just shake the bottle in front of them, and then I bow and I say thank you. I think a dog would be different. but cats are extremely sensitive to essential oil smells. So I just want to respect their, yeah, I wouldn't do that
That's-
personally.
That's really good advice. So if someone is new, they're all new to the herbal medicine, and oh, you know what, even before I get into this, I know that there are some people here. Can you just talk for a minute about psilocybin? Because a lot of people are confused about psilocybin. Like, so psilocybin are mushrooms, magical mushrooms, but as medicine, can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So psilocybin is an incredible fungus that grows naturally on the earth, and it has a specific entheogen compound called psilocybe, which is what, when you ingest it, it can open up different neural networks in your brain, and it can also open up your third eye. So people might experience like excessive amounts of laughter, or they might see like things with auras. It could be a visual experience for them. It could be an emotional experience for them. When taken in a medicinal manner, it has the ability to heal things that it's kind of endless, because it has, if you think that something that you're experiencing physically, like an ailment, let's say you have arthritis or you have something going on that you haven't been able to cure, if you can shift your brain, you can shift your physical experience. So what psilocybin does is it keeps your brain neuroplastic, which means you're not going to get stuck in the same repetitive thought patterns over and over again. And if you want to have a physical shift around a disease, psilocybin can help that. And there's tests being done in Israel and Oregon right now that have proven peer-reviewed study results that psilocybin has healed certain cancers. So it's not just going after the anxiety and the depression, which it really does heal quite magically. But it can be a good time. You can cut loose, take a little bit, and you can laugh for a few hours on a Friday night while receiving hormone balancing medicine, nervous system balancing medicine. So like it's a medicine that comes in and brings you back to balance on so many different levels. And what a lot of people don't know is that you produce it naturally in your body. Like if you took a pee test and you never took psilocybin, they're going to find that in your pee because the human body produces it naturally. So it's already naturally in people. I don't think a lot of people know that, but it's a way to propel your healing goals on every single level: physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, everything.
I love that. And then you have a book on that as well. So if you visit Scarlet's site, and I think Scarlet, you have a website that's just scarletravin.com, right?
Yeah. My name,
raven.com. I'm just going to put that right there. You can go on there and you can see her different books and everything. So thank you so much for explaining that, because I know a lot of people are interested or they're curious about psilocybin, but they don't really know the benefits, or they think it's just like, oh, maybe it's just a drug, and
yeah.
so thank you so much for that. So if people visit White Fox, what is one of the products that you would highly recommend for, like, let's say someone is experiencing just anxiety, stress, which product of yours would you recommend?
The Tranquility tincture. It's the Tranquility and the Repair Remedy Salve is our two best sellers. So that tincture, I mean, you'll feel the effects. So everything I make is entourage effect based, which means you're not just taking a medicine and then you're wondering if it's working. You're going to feel effects in your body within 15 to 20 minutes. If you have an empty stomach, you'll feel them more profoundly. But if you have like an anxiety attack or a panic attack and you took a couple of dropfuls of the Tranquility and then you just breathed for like 10 minutes in nature, you would feel supported. You would feel like you took a natural form of Valium. And then if you have insomnia, you can take even greater amounts to go to sleep at night. But the good thing is that all the medicine, all the different herbs that are in here, they're going in and they're balancing your cells. So it's something that you probably won't need after a few weeks of taking it consistently. You won't be drawn to it anymore because you'll be like, oh, I balanced that aspect of myself. And then it's there if you have a stressful day, it's there to support you. I don't think we're meant to be suffering as much. I think that the standard for suffering is so like humans have just accepted it. And there's so much plant medicine out there to support us to where we can gracefully heal these things and have a good time doing it.
Absolutely. Trisha says, I think tinctures are incredible medicine, but am concerned about suggesting them to someone who is sober. Do you think that this could be an issue for them?
Well, there's nothing psychoactive in my tinctures. So the Tranquility formula, it has hemp-derived CBD. So that has no psychoactive anything, and someone would still be considered completely sober if they took it. So I don't like anything that you can buy online from me from whitefoxnectars.com is not going to have any crossover issues with sobriety.
That's really good to know. Thank you so much for bringing up that question, Trisha. That's really important. And what about, are the tinctures, what about the alcohol? Trisha?
I don't use alcohol. I use organic MCT oil. And also, medicine is absorbed into your blood through fat, which MCT oil is the liquid of coconut oil. You need fat to have this stuff be really effective. So when people make an alcohol-based tincture, they're making it because they don't want to remake it and they want it to sit on your shelf for 3 or 4 years. There's really no medicinal benefit to an alcohol-based tincture except for longevity. So all of my stuff is packaged in violet Miron glass, which actually increases the potency of the product over time. So if you guys Googled benefits of violet Miron glass, it'll break down all the scientific reasons as to why, like this tincture, it'll last for 3 years on your kitchen counter. And it's totally organic. There's no preservatives in it, but it's because of the glass.
Yeah. And you use really expensive glass. Her products are just amazing. And one more thing about the tinctures, are those safe for dogs and cats, horses?
Yes. Yes, the Tranquility is used really often on dogs. I also have like a 1-to-1 tincture that's not online that's great for dogs in pain. There's no need for the dogs to be taking like the awareness and vitality. So I would stick to like the Tranquility or the Just Be tincture, or it would depend on what your dog's going through. But yes, they're all totally safe. I just I wouldn't see the benefit of the awareness and vitality.
And again, if you have questions, you can reach out to Scarlet and she can help guide you on this. Or if you needed the one-to-one that's not on her website, you can ask her. So they said, Scarlet, I'm very thankful that you decided to stay on Earth. I've just met you for the very first time and cannot wait for more because you're a very inspirational soul. I too was helped by horses. Thanks a million to both. Oh, that's so sweet. And that was from Extaso. So thank you so much for saying that. That's so kind. So one more thing before we go, you have, the remedy salve. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, this one is incredible. I'm holding it up, but there's no video.
You can try turning your video on again. Maybe it'll work now.
It's funny. I'm like, hey, look, guys. This one's incredible. My grandma had like arthritis to where she was gnarled. I don't know if you guys have seen people get that really bad. And she was 95 and she went through like a jar every week because she would cover her body in it before she went to sleep. And she said she would wake up with no pain. So it's really, really potent. I don't dilute any of my formulas. It's basically like very thick amounts of herbal remedies in coconut oil. And then I just, once it's extracted, I remove the raw matter. You're getting a very potent medicine. So people have told me it's cured their eczema. There's a guy who's like 90 years old who gets gout and he buys them by the 6-pack and he says it takes all of his gout pain out of his foot. But it's also great for horses. So it's good for like a medicine cabinet. If your horse gets a cut, it's antimicrobial. There's helichrysum in here. So it stops bacterial growth. Like if I fall off and I get, the road burn where they call it, where like some of your skin just gets shaved off. This is the perfect remedy for it because it'll take any chance of infection out, but then it'll take the swelling down and help you heal really quick. It's great for menstrual cramps. You rub it under your belly button. It's good for boob pain. I mean, anywhere you're going to have pain or tightness, I've used it, and that's why I keep the price really high, is because I want it to be really potent. You don't need a lot of it. Like you can take just a little bit and rub it, and this could last you a few months, but you're going to get a lot more potent relief.
Yeah, absolutely. It does last forever. And then the last one was you have, for those of you who do have horses, you have a new oil that's for their hooves. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So for the horse people, you guys probably know about copper tox and all that nasty, like purple and green stuff they sell you for thrush, which actually doesn't work, but it's really toxic. I read the ingredients and those things are toxic. So I researched herbs that may or may not help with thrush, and I put together this formula, and it works in like 3 days. So during the rainy season, all my horses will get thrush, and it's a really small applicator. So you just dab it. It's, again, not a diluted oil. You dab it where you see the thrush, and you apply that for like 3 days, and the thrush will be gone. But it also has a fair amount of castor oil in it, so it really moisturizes the hoof if you get hoof cracks. But this has been like all I used on my horse's hoofs now for a few years, and it works. You can get rid of your condition. It's also an abscess preventative. So if you have a horse that gets abscesses when it goes from wet to dry seasons, you can pre-apply this before the seasons change to prevent an abscess.
That's amazing. So again, Scarlet, and this is it's White Fox Nectars, isn't it, Scarlet?
Yeah, whitefoxnectars.com. Whitefoxmedicinals.com also points to the same site now.
I will put that up there for everybody. And again, I'm going to send out an email to everybody who registered and everybody who's here and everybody who's not here with just links and a recap of this incredible talk. So I don't know, Scarlett, I didn't talk to you about this. I don't know if you're open to it, but I didn't know if you would want to do just a little meditation for us as we end this. Oh, before I'll announce the winners, but I don't know if you're open to doing a meditation with us.
Sure, yeah.
Okay, so I will announce the winners. So Scarlett, why don't you tell what we're giving away first?
We're doing like 3 books and then 3 products, right?
Yes.
Do we want the people to pick?
Yeah, so the people, I'll do the first 3 that won books, and then we'll do the next 3 who won products. So for those of you who want a book, it's Lauren Murphy. I don't think Lauren's on the call. Anita Terry and Judy Holmes. Judy, oh, I didn't even just ready. Judy. So the 3 of you won books. So which books? Just really quickly, and they can also go to your site.
Oh, wait, are you asking me which books?
Yeah, like you have your books there, right?
I'm like, yeah, okay, go. Follow the Medicine, Awakening Self-Empowerment. This one is an international bestseller. In Love with God, Confessions from My Pathway to Enlightenment. Naked Starseed, Ascension Handbook, Blood Type Galaxy Dust. I was in my ethereal phase when I wrote this one. You can see all the phases of my life if you just look at my book collection. Notas de Amor. This is a book of love notes to my animals and my plants, and it's in Spanish and English. And then Psilocybin Transmissions, which is the book on psilocybin.
Love that. So all of you winners can pick one of those books, and then Scarlett's going to send it directly from her. And then the people who won a product is Barbara Ramus, Emily Sorbel, and Trisha went to I'm sorry, Trisha. And Trisha's on the call. So yay, Trisha, congratulations. Sorry, I butchered your last name. So what products can they choose from?
Honestly, you could pick whatever you wanted off the website. The most best sellers are the Repair Remedy Salve, the Tranquility Full Spectrum Tincture. The Alum Cure is extremely popular right now. This one it's a face cream. You put it on at night. It rewinds time on your face. So it's gonna make all the cells on your skin, wherever you put it. You don't have to put it, you can put it here, wherever you want, but it makes your cells renew. And the other part of it is it's an incredible cancer preventative. So if you have any like, oh, I should whatever, this you could put on and you could know that your cells are going to stay healthy.
That's really good, especially for fair skinned people. That's a real concern, cancer on your face too. So I love that. I love that so much. Yay.
Yeah.
So you can. So I'm going to be reaching out to the winners. I have to get your mailing address, and then I'll just ask you which product you want, and Scarlet will generously send that out to all to you. So thank you so much, everyone, for registering and coming, and thank you so much, Scarlet. This has just been amazing, and thank you so much for being open to doing a meditation, because you do the most beautiful meditation. So I would love for you to end with that, if you don't mind.
I'm gonna get cozy.
Okay.
Should I turn my video off so it doesn't glitch, or should I leave it on and see?
I don't know. Maybe turn it off, because we wouldn't want you to glitch during.
Okay. So this is going to be a new meditation inspired by my phone call with Leah this morning. So let's all take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. And to fully feel all the medicine coming in, close your eyes and feel your bottom on your chair or the floor where you sit. Feel the weight of your body around you. And breathe deep into your belly. So in this meditation, we are going to activate love, compassion, and the power of innocence in every single one of our hearts. So as all of our spirit guides and guardian angels and the Great Spirit come together to create a sacred capsule for us all to sit upon together now, feel free just to relax into this bubble. And if you want to lay down and close your eyes, you can lay down. And we're going to invite the medicine of the deer to enter into our sacred circle. And deer medicine is pure, unconditional love and compassion. The deer doesn't know anything but love and compassion. So breathe into your heart now, and if you feel called, place your right hand over your heart center. I'm going to share the story of deer medicine while we invite this transference of vibrational energy to come awakened inside of our own experience. Now, the deer has great powers, so much so it can cross over any darkness by only sharing love and compassion. All of us are on an illuminated pathway back to the Great Spirit inside of our own selves. We seek for answers, and we seek for these higher vibrational felt expressions of ourself. Now we get to watch how deer does it. So deer is on a mission to get back to Great Spirit. That's all she can think about. As she walks across the forest pathway, weaving through the trees and seeing the squirrels all around her, she comes up to a darker bridge where water is passing underneath the bridge. And on the other side of this bridge stands a demon. It's a well-known demon in this forest, and it's the demon that confuses all the other forest creatures from getting back to the Great Spirit. Deer doesn't know any of this. So the deer walks onto the bridge, and as the great demon appears, the deer opens its wide, innocent eyes and feels nothing but love and compassion flow from her heart. She can feel her innocence deeply rooted into the core of the earth, and she can see nothing but love in front of her. The demon becomes very confused, as this has never happened before. All the other forest creatures feel fear in his presence, but not Deer. Deer doesn't know what fear is. So through this loving gaze, the deer never breaks eye contact with the demon and says, "I'm just here to see the Great Spirit." And once the demon realizes that the only thing present is love and compassion, it disintegrates. For there's nothing for it to stick to. There's no more life for it to live if it can't be reflected back in fear. So the deer walks across the bridge, watching the disintegrated smoke float up into the sky, and continues its peaceful pathway back to the Great Spirit inside of herself, creating an eternal capsule of endless love and compassion that spreads to everyone that is around her. And that is what all of you are. You are all the deer. You are all the endless love and compassion that you seek. And all of us have that deeply rooted inside of our own hearts as we walk in gratitude back home. So like a treasured remembrance, keep this inside of your heart and remind yourself tomorrow about the deer. And when you're mad in your car, remind yourself about the deer. Or when something might look nasty in the 3D form, disintegrate it by remembering the deer. Now, whenever you're ready, or if you're not ready, you can stay in your meditative state. I'm not sure, Leah, do we end or do we? Oh,
Thank you so much, Scarlett. That was beautiful. I love that so much, the story of the deer. It's such a great reminder that love is so much more powerful than hate or anger or worry. And it's just, that's going to stay with me. Thank you so much for sharing that and for reading that story. It was so, I don't know if everybody else felt it, that it was really strong meditation. It was so heart opening. I also want to remind everybody on June 8th, I'm doing a fundraiser for Scarlett for Chico's expenses. It's mindfulness with horses. So for those of you who have taken the Reiki classes, this is going to be different. Yes, we're going to talk a little bit about animal Reiki, but I'm also infusing more. Monica says, "Oh my God, so beautiful and touching. I'm so grateful." Kelly said, "Beautiful meditation. I saw a young deer last night for the first time in a while." Oh, that's so beautiful. And then Michelle says, "Lovely to meet you, Scarlett." So do sign up for the fundraiser, because I am going to be talking more about more practical things with horses. So usually in our animal Reiki classes, we don't really talk about signals that horses give to show when they're happy, sad, frustrated, or angry. So I'm going to have this in a workbook for you. I'm also going to talk about, if you do want to use hands on a horse, where you can do that, when you can do that. We're also going to be talking about some more traditional meditations that are not in the Reiki space. And so it's going to be a really wonderful class that is rich, full of information. Scarlett is also going to be there to share her wisdom. And I would really love it if you could join us on June 8th. It's only 2.5 hours from 9 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. Pacific time. It's only $59 right now, and 100% of the funds go to Scarlet and Chico to help support his healing. So I really hope to see you, and congratulations to all the winners. Again, it was Lauren, Anita, Judy, Barbara, and Emily and Trisha. Yes. And again, we'll do, and Sunny said, thank you so much. This was amazing. Emily said, thank you. So beautiful. Congratulations, Judy and Emily. Emily's here on the phone. Great. Oh, wait just a sec. There's more meta. Okay, I've got to go back up here. I think I missed Val's message. Val said, Scarlett and Leah, thank you so much. I had to sign off, but please put me on your mailing list. And I'm trying to move myself and my 2 medicine horse rescued Mustangs to New Mexico. Oh, we'll be ordering Tranquility blend ASAP. Looking forward to the YouTube and books. Oh, that's so great. I'm not sure how I missed that. And then I read that one. So yeah, I think we've got everyone. I just want to do this before we sign off. Trisha said, so fascinating. Thank you for sharing. Congratulations, Trisha. And then Kelly said, thank you, Leah and Scarlett. So Scarlett, I cannot thank you enough for coming on, sharing your wisdom, sharing your magic. I really encourage everyone, look at her website, look into her courses. As Shelly said, they're really magical. Follow the Medicine is life-changing book. So please support Scarlett, get one of her products or take her class, but you will be touched by her magic and your life will be changed, I promise. So thank you all so much. Scarlett, so many thanks and gratitude.
Thank you everyone for being here. I loved being here. Thank you.
All right, everyone. Bye.
Bye, guys.